So the rose, because it's just the most delicate, feminine, floral flavour that, it's just gorgeous and full of love. It's just so comforting to taste.
Hello, and a very warm welcome to the Sacred Womb podcast, where we talk about all things to do with befriending our menstrual cycle, deeply healing both our feminine and masculine aspects, and how we can indeed utilise our cyclical nature as a natural spiritual pathway that's encoded within our bodies. I'm your host, Melanie Swan, and you can also go to thesacredwomb.com for more information and loads of fantastic free resources. Hello, wombies around the world, and a very warm welcome back to the Sacred Womb podcast. I'm so enjoying these podcasts. I'm so enjoying talking to you. I'm so enjoying your feedback. What a wonderful, wonderful time we're in as the menstrual cycle becomes something that we can embrace, something that we can talk about, and something that we can utilize for our empowerment. And today I've got an absolutely amazing podcast for you. I've interviewed Millie Watson-Brown. She is Creatress of Moontime Chocolates. So these chocolates help us to tune into the different phases of our menstrual cycle using all of our senses, a beautiful sensual experience. So Millie takes us through her background, where she's at in her cycle, how she got started making chocolate, how she used a very painful experience to drop deeper into her womb space. Then she beautifully talks us through how she got the idea of making chocolates that do correspond with the different phases of the cycle. And she shares how she gestated and birthed that idea to the world. And she also shares details of how and why she selected the different ingredients and herbs for each chocolate. And then to finish off, Millie gives us a practical and sensual exercise to help us to tune into the different phases of our cycle, the different days of our cycle, with or without her beautiful chocolates. So I had so much fun talking to her. Millie is very sparkly, very generous, and very honest with her information. So I'm sure you're going to absolutely love this podcast. And her chocolates, I can really honestly say are absolutely amazing. Millie sent me some chocolates to try out, and these chocolates arrived and I was on day 2 of Moontime. I thought when I got them, I opened them, beautiful packaging, lovely little list of what's in them. And I thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna eat one throughout my cycle. I'm gonna meditate with them. Ladies, that just did not happen. They were gone in a day and a half. They were so beautiful. But I was feeling very open, very sensual. I was in my moon time. So I did try to tune into each different chocolate and its qualities. And the thing that struck me whilst I was eating these chocolates and trying to be like super careful about, oh yeah, I'm going to eat this one now and this one next day, which obviously didn't happen. As I was eating them, I got the different flavours and I got where she was going with it. And, I got the essence of what was in them and what it helped with. But, the main thing I got was these little chocolates are balls of medicine. They carry the energy of the person that's made them. And they're made with love. And I felt golden light was spun into them. And eating them was just an absolute treat. So I will certainly be ordering them for in-person workshops and training that I'm doing. Because I think it's a lovely foot in. I think it's a lovely opener for women to get in touch with their cycle more deeply. So here's the podcast, ladies. I hope you thoroughly enjoy it. Get yourselves a cup of tea, put your feet up. This is for you. And without further ado, I give you Millie Watson-Brown. A very warm welcome to the podcast, Millie Watson-Brown.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure, and thank you for making your awesome gorgeous, amazing tasting chocolates. So just to kick us off, could you tell us a bit about yourself, Millie?
Yeah, so I'm in Devon. I'm on day 22 of my cycle, feeling the season change internally as well as externally. Really noticing that shift happening, actually. Really feeling that desire to cozy on down and take in the harvest.
Lovely. So how did you get started making these chocolates, Millie?
Well, I think as soon as I've discovered making these chocolates, I can track back a long time to make me realise what journey I've been on to get here.
Yeah.
And so it started growing up in my parents running a whole food shop, so alternative medicine was quite prominent in my life, and I was working there, so I was learning as I grew about different medicines and things. And then for mainly contraceptive reasons, I started tracking my cycle in my early 20s, and I just got really interested in it and just went deeper and deeper with that experience of the cycle awareness. And one thing that happened, which was in 2011, I fell pregnant and I miscarried, and this just dropped me even deeper to the womb space, really. It's I had a following 2 miscarriages later on the following year, and it just enabled me to really drop and drop and drop into the bleed and into the grief and into what our wombs hold, and behold what potential they have. So it really enabled me to deepen that relationship. And at the time, obviously very painful and difficult experience to go through, but now I really feel like I'm harvesting the gold from those painful times, and this is me birthing one of my babies. I feel the creativity of that.
It's amazing that you've felt that pain, and then you kind of found yourself deeper in it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think that every painful experience that we have later on in life, we can really harness the experience and bring forth light from that.
Thanks for sharing that and being vulnerable with it and laying it on the table, because I think it really helps set the tone for this podcast, and you really bring in yourself to it. So I can feel that it's, what I'm getting is that it's a very personal process. It's a very creative process for you. And I just wanted to share with the listener that when I tasted the chocolates, I could feel a lot of love and golden light in them. So talking to you about it connects me with the chocolates deeper and with you. So I really appreciate your openness and willingness to just lay it on the table here.
Yeah, that feels like one of the most important things about this experience, the chocolates, the sharing, because by bringing these chocolates, I feel like I'm breaking a taboo by, talking to everyone and anyone about it. Yeah. And in the same way, I want to do similar with miscarriage, because, the more you talk about it, the more you find out how many other people have gone through that and how little we talk about it openly. Yeah. People don't know how to cope with people talking about it. And so, it's happening in the world right now, the breaking of the taboo of talking about the menstrual cycle. So it feels like, it's just another little element of that.
Okay, so that happened in 2011, 2012. And how did you come to the idea of making chocolates to help connect with the menstrual cycle?
So about 3.5 years ago, I moved to Bristol, and I started working with a friend, Radek, who makes chocolate, Radek's Chocolate. And we just started working together, it was great. He was teaching me art and science of chocolate making. There's so much to it. And so, that was happening. It was exciting to be making chocolate. I love chocolate. So that was great. And then I guess I didn't really know where it was taking me, but I ended up on a Unleashing Your Creativity workshop with Alexandra Pope. And that's where I realised needed to link two things that I'm really passionate about, which is the chocolate and honouring the menstrual cycle. So this is where I just like, okay, they have to come together. How do I do this? How do I bring them together? So with that, Radic was very supportive of me starting my own line, which was great because obviously I didn't want to compete with his chocolate. And so I used his truffle recipe and adapted it to make these. So it was a combination of my deep personal connection with my cycle and the creativity in my womb that wanted to birth something. I could really feel the need to birth something, which came through this workshop with Alexandra. And then, the fact that I was making this amazing chocolate, and it felt really fantastic to bring the two together.
So once you'd been on this workshop and you made the link of these two things that you're passionate about, what was your process then around creating? Because I know have you got 6 or 7 different chocolates?
Yeah. So I've almost got 8 now.
Ooh. I'm excited to hear about the 8th flavour. Yeah. I'm going to dig deep on that. So I'd love to hear how, after these two forces together and that spark came about and you started to birth them, how did you create the different chocolates for the different phases?
So, it was a very slow process, and I really trusted in that, actually. At first I was very excited, very passionate about it, and really wanted to just get it out in the world. And then I really had to rein back, utilising the cycle of like, okay, hold back, really don't share this until it's ready to be birthed, because what might happen, it might be squished or stolen, or, I didn't know. I wanted to really hold it close to my chest. So I started just experimenting in the kitchen with using his Radic's truffle recipe, and then just adding, I think the first one I did was the rose and cramp bark one, which is just a bit of rose otto essential oil and cramp bark tincture. So just mixing, it was a bit like being in a laboratory, really. And so I started just exploring with that, and it was very, very slow, like I said. And I'd make something and I'd get people to try it, just a few close friends, not really spreading it much further. And then gradually I developed other flavors and started feeling quite happy with them. And it was actually one friend really, really was encouraging me to get it out there, and she was like, bring them to a yoga workshop that I'm doing. And so that was their first outing. And it was like, they went to this women's yoga retreat, and it was very new and fresh. And I hand drew my business cards because I didn't know what else to do. And that's still my business card, actually, after all this time. I kept it the same. But it was very gentle progress, and people were quite encouraging as I shared it more and more. And actually quite a few women were saying, like, are you ready? Are you ready for this to take off? And I was kind of like, slowly. But because a lot of women kept saying that to me, I thought, okay, I do need to be ready, because, I did my research before making these and couldn't find anything else like this out there. So, I need to be ready for women who want this to have it from me, because it's such a original thing that's out in the world. It feels really exciting.
And I'm curious, that how long did it take from going to Alexandra's workshop to getting the chocolates to your first event or whatever and selling them? 9 months. Uncannily. I couldn't have written it better. So it was really magic. And then that first event, that just took me off, and I started talking about it with many more people, started taking them to other events and sharing them. And I only recently, I've had a few people ordering them over the last year and a half, but only recently, set up my online shop and started really getting it out there even more. But so 9 months till it was born, and I'm very pleased with that. And a year and a half now, I think it's been down the line that they're out there. And I'm curious as well, how do you feel when you get an order in, or when you get really lovely feedback from, your customers?
It's the most wonderful thing. I really have a sense of stepping out of the way, because it's not particularly me that's doing this. I know that I'm crafting them, but it's interesting how to get the balance of ego having a nice little feel good factor, but also just feeling really honoured to be providing this to the women and men out in the world. And it's really heartwarming, and it excites me because I feel like I'm touching people, and that's it's a really, really wonderful feeling.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that one.
Mm.
So now I'd love to know, like, because you do have 7, soon to be 8 different varieties, how you chose like the different herbs, the different flavours, how you tuned in and got what you got for each different phase.
So I'm really aware that before I started creating them, I knew what some of them needed to be, partly because my intuition was telling me, but also because of the different herbs that I was using at different parts of my cycle. So the first one that was created, so during the bleed time, inspired by kind of day 1 and 2, is the rose and crampbark truffle. And this one, feels like, I think it's my favourite. It's
my favourite, actually.
Yeah. A lot of people's favourite.
I ate them in about 10 minutes.
So yummy. So the rose, because it's just the most delicate, feminine, floral flavour that, it's just gorgeous and full of love. It's just so comforting to taste. And the crampbark, because, it's really good for menstrual cramps, and it's a lovely one I'm using because my childhood neighbour is a herbalist, and she grows it in North Devon and makes the tincture herself. So I get it from her. So it's all grown in Devon, really sustainable herb forest, which she has, which is wonderful. I really value that.
What does crampbark do? What does it help with?
So it helps relax the muscle wall of the womb. So when you're experiencing cramps, which is it like tightening, it helps just relax and calm the muscles down. So really good for period pains. I've been using it for years, mainly the tincture. I find it much easier to take in that way. I find it amazing. It's amazing stuff. And you can take it beforehand to prevent it happening as well as symptomatically. So
yeah. Okay. So the rose and crampbark is for like maybe a little bit before you bleed and during moontime.
Yeah, so kind of days 1, 2, I suggest. It's my suggestion. This is on a average 28-day cycle, but obviously people vary hugely. So I suggest adjusting the days I suggest to the cycle that their length is. So yeah.
Okay. So that's rose and crampbark. What comes next?
So then we've got the apricot, almond and ginger, which is inspired by kind of days 3, 4, still in the bleed, because apricots are really rich in iron and almonds rich in potassium, and ginger's really warming and good for the circulation. So it's like a really warming, invigorating, but nutritious. I mean, as nutritious as it can get. Ruffle. So it's kind of the reality with my chocolates is there's an essence of those parts of the cycle. It's not like they are medicinal. So I make no claims that my chocolates are medicinal. I should say that. Yeah, they just bring in that element which is needed at that time, I believe.
Okay. And so that's roughly for days kind of 3, 4 and 5, is it? The apricots?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And what does that chocolate help us tune into in days 3, 4 and 5?
I think it's, for me, it was the energy of depletion. So I feel quite depleted in that time because I've bled, I'm releasing a lot of energy through bleeding. And so then it's just helping to build up our iron levels, our nutritional levels. And, dried organic apricots are really really good, rich in iron. So that's why I included them, because it felt like that's what we need at that time.
When I tasted them as well, I was actually able to eat the apricot one on day 3. What I felt was like I'd gone into my moontime like deep in, silky with the rose, and then I came out. I started to kind of come out of the cave a little bit on day 3, 4, and the ginger and the apricot just gave a little bite and a sharpness of I can't quite just put it into words because it was such a sensual experience, but it's a little bit of bite or spark or something. It helped me tune into.
Nice. Yeah, and because that one's made with the almond nut butter, it is a bit nuttier than the rose one, because the rose one's with cashew nut butter, which has a lot less flavour to it. But the almond, it does make it more bitey, I think, like you say. It's got a bite to it. Yeah, I'm really happy you felt that, yeah.
Oh, great. So we've got rose and cranberry for moontime, apricot, almond, ginger for kind of second half of moontime, I guess. And then what comes next?
So pre-ovulation, we've got maca and shatavari. So, I mean, this fills quite a big gap. So it's, post bleed and pre-ovulation. It's, maca and shatavari. I say inspired by kind of roughly day 8 because it's a really nice boost of energy to bring you out of the bleed. I mean, quite a lot of women find that they get that boost of energy anyway, but it also it helps enhance that and bring freshness to it, I suppose, and energy. So maca, it's a really good hormone balancer and mood enhancer, so it's good for supporting your energy levels and bringing you up a bit. So that's why I put maca in there. And shatavari is incredible. It's like the women's Ayurvedic herb, good for everything woman based, and it's like rejuvenative tonic for the reproductive system, so really good for the womb, for fertility, for regulating the cycle. And magic herb. The more I've looked into it, the more I just think we should all be taking shatavari. It's really beautiful.
Oh, great. You can take it in a tea, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I mean, I use tinctures in most of the chocolates. There's tinctures I'm using, but you can also get just dry powder, so you can whack it in your smoothie or anything like that. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, I'll get some of that. Thank you, Millie.
Welcome.
So we've bled, we've kind of come out of our bleed, we've met the world with some maca and shatavari, and what comes next?
So then at ovulation, it's hazelnut, damiana and acai. So acai, berry. And so this one, I really like this one because it's super nutty, because the hazelnut, so I use hazelnut butter in this one. And so that makes it really nutty, and hazelnuts go really well with chocolate. And then the damiana, which, I mean, I don't put too much in because otherwise the chocolate tastes a bit green, that kind of green superfoody flavour. Yeah. I don't want it to taste like that. So there's not so much damiana in there, but it's definitely got the subtle aphrodisiac qualities of damiana, which is quite fun for ovulation because it matches where we're at, I suppose. A lot of women think, oh my gosh, I don't need anything extra. And so, it's just a fun little added essence to that to complement where we're at usually at ovulation.
Yeah. Okay. And I remember my second favourite is coming next. I think it's the orange and cranberry.
Cranberry and blood orange, exactly. So this is like citrusy, tangy. That I don't really have any other reason other than wanting to get blood orange in there, because it just felt too good to be true to include blood orange in moontime chocolates.
Oh, God,
and I just love cranberries in chocolate as well. And I could play around with cranberries. Are really good for cystitis or for bladder issues, but definitely don't eat a cranberry and blood orange chocolate if you have cystitis. I mean, you need to avoid sugars and things, but I use coconut sugar, but even so, it's just a play with the blood orange and the tang. And like you had a fun experience with it, didn't you? You quite liked that one.
Absolutely. And I love the taste. It was so zingy, and I didn't actually eat it at the corresponding point in my cycle, but I got it. Like, it's just I ate it, I put it in my mouth, my taste buds were alive. I could really feel that sort of ovulation time of, wow, yeah, I'm in the world, I'm doing this, I'm ready, I'm present, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I really felt like that was an amazing match.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
And so that's the blood orange and cranberry.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going round our cycle now to post-ovulation.
Well, that's where the new one comes in, which I will share at the end, maybe.
Okay. I'll put I'm writing notes here, so I'll put a little question mark and star there. So post-ovulation, there's one. And...
Or do you want me to bring it now? Shall I bring it?
Oh, bring it now. Bring it now, I want to know.
Yeah. So this one is still in development, so I'm still experimenting in the kitchen with how to get it how I want it, really. So it's lemon balm and Agnus castus. So yeah, really, I feel really excited about this one because I love lemon balm. It's got a beautiful lemony flavour and it's really good for kind of low mood. So I quite often get post-ovulation blues, and the more I talk to women, the more they experience similar. Sometimes I even get it on like day 15 or day 16. It's just straight there, just, yeah, post-ovulation blues. So I felt like this would fit really nicely to in that, and it's really comforting. Yeah, lemon balm's kind of antidepressant. And then Agnus castus, really good for balancing the hormones, and again, a good tonic for the reproductive system. So it felt like a good one to bring in here when your hormones are adjusting to, you know, whether you're trying to conceive or not. When hormones are adjusting to the post ovulation, it's the peak of energy, and so time to try and get the balance happening after that.
Yeah, I can imagine that really helps with the transition from the ovulation to phase to post ovulation, just to kind of help smooth the pathway, or to tune into that phase, because, you know, I certainly have felt in the past like, oh, ovulation, and I'm buzzing and I'm getting stuff done, and then, you know, I just feel a bit for a day after. I'm like, I haven't done anything different. I was on fire yesterday. What's happening? And I think it can catch us off guard, really. And so I like that there's a chocolate there, because I think it would help me, and maybe other women listening as well, to remember, actually, there are these fluctuations that happen, and they're okay. And if we tune into them, we can adjust our actions to that. But if we're expecting ourselves to be kind of on fire all the time, or, you know, really productive, it can knock us off a little bit, I think.
Absolutely. I think that's so important. And even with, like, I've been tracking my cycle for years, working with the seasons of the cycle. And even just recently is when I've realised that actually I do get this post-ovulation blues. And I think with the seasons, I was expecting myself to be like the height of energy, the height of creativity, that just really full at this point. But actually, it really is the day after ovulation that I get a dip. And I kind of hadn't allowed myself to really connect with that, because I expected myself to be in this summertime, or, you know, whatever. So it's like, it's fascinating how even when we're really trying to get to know our cycle, we need to listen to ourselves much more than the maps we're given, because there's these subtle nuances that are individual to us, or that aren't necessarily included in that, which is why I chose to put this here, because it just felt really, well, it links for my cycle. So whether or not other people feel the same, it's, you know, there's no rules to eating my chocolate at the right times. It's just,
as we found out, get them all at once. Okay, I feel really pleased that you've added that one, actually, because maybe people don't get a dip, but it still brings an awareness to the fact that I've ovulated, and now things are changing a little bit. Exactly. Yeah, thanks for that. So, and I love lemon balm as well. I think it's an amazing herb. It really helps with everything. So we've gone post ovulation. What comes next? So then we've got the premenstrual. I've got two in the premenstruum, and one of them is a new one which I've just released, which is raspberry and raspberry leaf. Oh, I can't wait to try that one. It's really lovely, like the fruity raspberry.
it's in there just to complement the raspberry leaf. So it's got a nice taste of raspberry. And raspberry leaf is, again, another amazing herb, high in magnesium, potassium, iron, B vitamins. It's really, really great one. Really helps relax and strengthen the womb. So it's lovely. I mean, you can drink raspberry leaf tea in the run up to your bleed, or throughout the whole cycle, really, to help tone the womb and strengthen it, so that when it comes to bleed, your muscles are strong and can hold that, can release, hopefully reduce cramps as well. But I love it. Yeah, really wonderful herb.
Yeah, when I saw that one was released, I was like, oh, I've got to get some of them.
Yeah.
And what's your other one for premenstrual time?
So then this is another one that I created quite early on, which is lavender, chamomile and calendula.
Oh.
So really floral, just it will tip you over the edge. If you're about to cry and you eat one of these, it'll just tip you into, in a supportive way. So it's really calming and relaxing, and I just love that floral energy that it brings, and that it can bring tears to your eyes. I do remember at one event I was talking these through with a man, and I was telling him about all the different ones, and I got to this one. I was like, it can just really support you in your premenstruum. If you need a good cry, you can eat one of these. He was like, I want to feel premenstrual so that I can eat one and cry. And I was like, wow, this guy is connecting to them so strongly. It was just beautiful to hear him, kind of connect with that and understand that. But,
oh wow, that feels really valuable, actually, to find it was a foot in for a guy to connect, because it's I mean, I think it's hard for guys. They don't have the physical experience. They see it, and I mean, some guys who are more sensitive can feel it, but to actually get a sensual anchor for what it might be like and what's happening, I think is amazing. So yeah, I did share my chocolates with my husband, but I was so greedy. I shared like a third of one of each.
Nice. Well, that's good. I mean, men and women, obviously, everyone can eat these. They're not going to harm anyone. They're very subtle, but I enjoy that men will eat them as well. And one woman actually bought a box of these for her husband for Valentine's Day earlier this year. It was just wonderful that she was buying them for him. I just really enjoyed that. So it's good that they don't have limitations.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I really like that as a way in for guys, because a physical anchor, I think, is very helpful. Okay, and I just wanted to share as well on that, the lavender one. Oh, it really... I ate it whilst I was in Moontime, and it felt really comforting. I loved the lavender in it. I mean, I could taste the lavender, and it was just like eating a warm blanket.
Exactly.
It was really like luxurious and nurturing. I could feel the essence of the plants in it.
Yeah. The lavender is the flavour in that one, and it's really, like you say, comforting. It's got that energy about it. Yeah. I'm kind of curled up in a ball now as we're talking about that one.
As probably everyone listening is like, oh, get me some lavender. So is that all of them then? Did we come back round?
Yeah, so then we're back round to the Rose and Cramp days. Yeah. 1 to 2. So that's the 8, and I feel really complete with it being 8. I'm aware that there's a few little gaps. I mean, 8 chocolates for a whole month. You can have 4 of each or something, and it will last you. But it feels really great to have kind of 2 a week, just so you can really connect to those nuances of that part of that phase of the cycle.
And how, either with or without the chocolates, I can feel that you bring sort of a different aspect, a different flavour of how to connect with the menstrual cycle here. So could you, for our listeners, could you give a tip, either, whether they've got the chocolates or not, as to how to tune into each different phase?
So I was really sitting with this last cycle, actually, and how we can tune into the essence of each phase of our cycle. So what I mean by that is the tastes. So with the chocolate, I created the tastes that I believe demonstrate that phase of the cycle. But it's like, what tastes are you attracted to? What smells? And even like textures, it's like maybe we want really soft things when we're premenstrual, like really fluffy blankets, or like, because we're so out there at ovulation, maybe we're okay with the harsh edges of a square house or something. It's like there's so many different energies that come with the cycle and how they change as the month goes by. So I feel like it'd be really nice to, even if just your next cycle, just really tune in with what shapes you enjoy, what colours you enjoy, what flavours that you're really drawn to. And see what happens for you, see what changes.
As you're talking, I'm thinking of making like an art landscape with different textures of things in my house, like crinkly paper or bubble wrap, or so that I can really feel deeper into each phase of my cycle and get a sensual anchor of it, so that I'm going to be more easily able to match my actions with that. So if I'm feeling, I've got bubble wrap at the moment, and what day am I on? Day 9, and it's very like pom pom pom. Like I've come out my bleed, and I'm ready to meet the world again. And I've got a couple of weeks now where I know I'm going to be super productive. I've got things to do, but within that, there's ebbs and flows, and different things are going to be needed to take care of myself and my productivity and creativity. So I love that sensual tuning in to really get myself, and then take care of myself. So thanks for that. I'm going to try that.
Even like you're saying, little collage of the cycle, and creating that. It's beautiful. Thank you.
All right, Millie. Well, that is awesome information and a great tip. I think it's really practical for us to take away and try. So if people do want to order your chocolates or find out more about them, where can they find you?
So I've got a website, which is moontimechocolate.co.uk, and there's a bit more about my story, and you can buy them online, and there's a contact page, so if you want to contact with me any questions and things, I'm really happy for you to drop me a line, send an email and things.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. And do you ship internationally?
So I currently don't have that set up on the website, but if people want them, then I can send them. We just have to figure out the postage cost separately. So absolutely. Okay. I can send them anywhere. That's fine.
Millie, that was awesome. I feel like I found out loads. I feel like I've got some new herbs to work with, a new kind of way to connect with my cycle in a more sort of arty, sensual way. And I can't wait to try the new chocolates either. So thank you so much for giving your time and being so generous with your information and so honest. I feel like it's just been a great experience talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel, it's been really rich, and I can feel new excitement coming about them again. I love talking about them. So thank you so much for having me here.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much, Millie. Have a great day.
And you. Bye-bye.
Oh, what a podcast. What a woman. Thanks so much to Millie. I just thoroughly enjoyed that interview and thoroughly enjoyed talking to another woman who stepped into her power and is birthing her own ideas and creativity in the world. And if you have any questions for Millie, she is in the Sacred Womb private Facebook group, and she's happy to answer your questions and would love to hear your feedback about her chocolates as well. So if you're not already a member of that group, the link to join is in the show notes. Yeah, there you go, Moontime Chocolates. I do want to say as well that I think it's a very essential part of our empowerment as women that we get together and we talk to each other and we support each other's gestation, creation and birthing of ideas, and we really encourage that. And we create a culture where it's normal for us to do that. I mean, we don't really talk about men's empowerment in the world of business. That's just a given. But we do talk about women's empowerment and how they're doing. And, I'd really love to live in a world where that's completely normal, that women are thriving in their businesses and creating our own unique things in the world. And that a sisterhood and brotherhood is supportive of that. And we're just lighting each other up because, there's not much better feeling than supporting each other and just seeing each other thrive. I think that's absolutely fantastic. So if you are running workshops, if you are running trainings, if you are trying to help women connect with their menstrual cycle and men, I think this is an absolutely great introduction and foot in the door of the magic of the menstrual cycle. So yes, there we go. And a quick reminder that the Moon Medicine Woman Professional Training registration is currently open, closes on the 28th of September. We start on the 3rd and 4th of October, years 1 and 2. More details of that can be found at theonlinemoonlodge.com. Ladies, if you're fired up about this, if you want to live in a world where our womb wisdom is accepted, encouraged, where our menstrual cycle is really seen as something to be embraced, revered and celebrated and used as our natural spiritual pathway, then come and join us in the Moon Lodge. If you're hesitant, if you don't know why you want to join, that doesn't matter. If you feel that pull, if you feel that call, come join us. Book in with me for a 15-minute consultation and let's see how we vibe together, because there's an awesome group of women gathering and it's just, what else? I mean, I can't think of what else I would want to do in this world than sit in circle with my sisters and watch us all light up in our uniqueness and bring that to the world. Okay, there you go. And I will see you next time for another awesome Sacred Womb podcast. See you soon. I really hope you enjoyed the podcast and that you got some useful tips out of it that can make a genuine difference in your daily life. And if you'd love to work deeper with this stuff, then do head on over to thesacredwomb.com, where you can sign up to receive the weekly newsletter and an invite to our private Facebook group, where you can share, learn and grow with like-minded women in a safe, supported space. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do leave us a rating and your comments are very, very welcome. And I'll see you next time.